looking for the in-between. It doesn't take just anything to bring out the extreme. We leave to keep score. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead out of force out. We run and go. For us it's in our bones. It's run and go. Oh. We leave to keep score. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead out of force out. We run and go. For us it's in our bones. It's run and go. Oh, go, oh, 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 oh. It's run and go. It's running. It's running. We leave to keep score. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead out of force out. We run and go. For us it's in our bones. It's run and go. Oh. We leave to keep.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Traveling Cookie. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about anxiety. And first things first, just to let you guys know, I am ready with my notes right here and my coffee. So you're going to be seeing that throughout the video. So we're going to be talking about what is anxiety, some of the different behaviors that are caused through it, some of the causes, some of the things that we can do to help mitigate anxiety, and some of the symptoms that you feel during anxiety, right? Well, anxiety is a feeling of worry or nervousness or unease, typically about an imminent event or something that is uncertain to the outcome, right? Something that's very common with anxiety is panic attacks, right? So anxiety at the beginning, it begins as a release of adrenaline caused by your amygdala, okay? So the amygdala is the emotional center of the brain, is that part of the brain that manages those emotions, and it sends that signal to start making adrenaline and shoot adrenaline throughout your body. And when that happens, your heart starts to race, your lungs start to expand to allow for more air, your breathing also starts to raise as well. Your blood vessels dilate, your muscle tenses, pupils dilate, and your peripheral vision can shrink in some cases. You also stop salivating, digestion, it stops all those things. So it literally makes you stop digestion and salivation, and even it diverts blood from the stomach and the skin off to other more essential organs and essential muscles, and even the nerves that are involved in arousal get turned off. And the reasons why I talk about why and some of the things that are caused by the anxiety is because biologically, anxiety is not meant to be a bad thing. Anxiety is a biological evolutionary trait that we have acquired for survival, okay? If we were to be in a survival situation where we see a lion, the lion is looking at us and we're just staring at the lion, we enter this anxiety into the fight or flight response. Now, this is meant for our survival. There's something more important that your body can use its energy for than just digestion, right? digestion is not as important when you are in a survival situation as it is for having more blood in your muscles for running, for fighting, for whatever you need to do to survive. Same thing goes with the nerves that are involved with arousal. They get turned off, and that's the reason why, it's not necessary. The body's looking to be as effective as possible to make sure that you survive. So that's one of the reasons why when we start looking at anxiety, we get things like dry mouth, we feel cold, and stuff like that is because our body literally is shutting down those systems, okay? Now, there are certain different types of anxiety. There's the clinical anxiety. And just to say, if you are suffering through clinical anxiety, recommendation is go through the proper methods with medication and therapy. That's the first thing. The point of this video is to actually give you some of my tips that I've found to deal with my anxiety and the type of anxiety that I've had throughout the years. Now, there's also the anxiety disorder. That is when anxiety starts to get in the way of your life. So when you start to let anxiety, or when anxiety is taking the majority of your life in control because of that anxiety, then that becomes a disorder. Okay? So some types of anxieties, the anxiety disorders that we can see are catastrophic fears. An example are phobias and separation anxiety. For example, if you are afraid of spiders, I'm afraid of spiders. I have arachnophobia. And where I live, they told me recently, there's spider season here. And I'm like, what? There's spider seasons here. Well, when I heard that, obviously, I started getting anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, what if a spider comes out of the grass, bites me, and I die, right? Because your mind is going to go through that response. Okay, it's going to go through that survival, fight, or flight. So in this case, my body wanted to flight, wanted to leave, wanted to flee, and avoid places where spiders might be. Now, another example of this is, for example, if you're afraid of heights, you will avoid places that have heights. Probably you're a person, if you're afraid of heights, you will avoid buildings, you will avoid tall places, you will avoid bridges, stuff like that, because of that fear that causes you that anxiety. Then we have social anxiety, which honestly is one of the biggest anxieties that we can see, which social anxiety specifically is a persistent, debilitating fear of being watched or judged. If you guys look at me and I'm looking down, it's because I have my nose in front of me, so I can actually talk about the topic. So an example of this anxiety can be selective mutism, right? So if you're a person that you are afraid of what people think and say about you, you're probably not going to be talking as much, right? This is selective mutism. So that's another type of anxiety that is caused by different social events. For example, let's say you're an introvert that does not like to be around people too much, and suddenly your friends push you into a party with hundreds of people. Everybody's talking, everybody's dancing, there's music, whatnot, and you have no clue whatsoever on what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to act, all these things. You start getting that anxiety because now you feel pressured to be like everybody else, or to do this, or you do that, or that is social anxiety. Another example of an anxiety is the fear of losing control. And this is a big part of panic disorders, because if you fear loss of control, panic disorders panic attacks specifically, tend to be that feeling of lost control. Because once you have that panic attack, most people just feel like they completely lose control over their bodies, don't understand what's going on, they can't control what's happening to them, so on and so forth. And this actually is a big part of what causes anxiety, of what causes this disorder. If you're a person that suffers from panic attacks, then you have an anxiety disorder. Okay. There's also the fear of uncertainty, which is not knowing what's going to happen next. Like, for example, like I said, my fear of spiders got me to the point where I was saying, oh, I'm not going to go outside, I'm not going to go anywhere where there's grass, simply because there might be a spider or whatever. That is a fear of uncertainty. I'm not certain that this might happen, so I avoid it. And some things that this can cause is OCD. For example, if you're a person that has that thought about that uncertainty, you'll probably start looking at the grass more. In my case, for example, I would be looking at the grass more. I would be more attentive. I would be doing different stuff just to try to be more, try to work with that uncertainty in a way. And it becomes like a ritual. So in OCD, and which is obsessive compulsive disorder, things are basically like ritual. For example, if you're a person that you're afraid of your house burning down. Let's put an example like that. Let's say you're afraid of your house burning down, and before you go anywhere away from your house, you have to check your stove 3 times, and you have to check all your appliances before leaving the home. Well, guess what? If that's something that you do on a normal day-to-day basis and based out of fear, that is an OCD. That is an obsessive compulsive disorder that you have created in accordance to fear. Hey everybody, this is Emmanuel again, here in post-processing and editing the video. I decided to cut the video short. I noticed it was too long for a single video. So I'm going to be cutting the video short here. I hope you all have an amazing, beautiful day. And remember, be the change you want to see. Bye!